Also, are you a difficult traveler? Do you get crabby at detours? Or if things are not what you expected when you get to your destination, driving on the wrong side of the road, the hot faucet in the bathtub is on the other side.
Oh, I love that
part. It's basically about getting out of your comfort zone, and that can be painful for some of us and annoying. And really, so to look at the bright side of it all and how to get past that annoying zone and dive into the experience that you want, which is what we're about in travel, is getting these new experiences. We have Sarah Elliston back on Big Blend Radio today. Sarah is the author of the book Lessons from a Difficult Person, How to Deal with Difficult, start that again. Lessons from a Difficult Person, How to Deal with People Like Us. You can get it on Amazon and also go to her website. She's got some great articles in her blog there as well. Go to Sarah-Elliston.com. And Sarah's also a faculty member of the William Glasser Institute. She's a workshop leader and trainer. She's certified in values, realization, parent effectiveness training, and reality therapy. Now, there's a thing, traveling with kids. That's a whole other part of difficulty.
That is really, really hard.
Exactly. Sarah's also one of our experts for Big Blend Radio. You can see her expert page up on blendradioandtv.com. But her article today is about being a difficult traveler and is up on our site, nationalparktraveling.com, and will also be featured in the April through June issue of Parks and Travel magazine. Sarah, welcome back. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thanks for inviting me back. I'm looking forward to this. I thought
know,
of something.
Difficult travelers. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I just thought of something. It's not in the article, but when you were saying with children, so I was thinking adults when I wrote this, but with children, as with adults, if you make sure everybody's had enough sleep and they have had enough food, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, it's just, I don't know if you know the acronym HALT. It's something that some people like. They pay attention to that. But if everybody has enough sleep and has enough food, children are less apt to be difficult when they're traveling.
It's true, but they do get tired, way earlier and sooner than adults do, and they walk slower with tinier steps, and we tend to be in a rush and drag them along, and then all of a sudden they get tired, and then it's like, I don't want.
They do that at home too. I mean, it's a matter of saying, okay, we wanted to do 3 museums today, but we have a 5-year-old, so maybe 1 will be enough. And the other 2 we'll see another time. We have to compromise. Anyway, I just thought of that when you were talking about having children. I thought, well, you have to make sure they have enough rest, and so I did this when we were, I guess it was on the Isle of Man, and I'm not much good in a museum after about an hour. Museums, zoos, those kind. I like being there, but I get information overload, and so I after an hour of going around this wonderful museum of the origins of the people on the Isle of Man, I said to my husband and son, I'm going to go sit on the bench by the front door in the sun and just have a little nap. And about 20 minutes later, my son came out to have one with me because he knew he needed a nap. he was older, so he wasn't 5. He was 11 or 12. But I think his father said, maybe you should go sit with Mommy for a while. I don't think I actually took a nap. But
I think that's what happens with adults too. It's not just kids, it's like I know adults just medically that when they need to eat now, and if they don't, it's like all hell is going to go, like everything's going to explode. We need to eat now. And I kind of get like that too at a certain point. If I don't eat, I'm not good. So there's a side of us adults that we are children. I wonder when we travel, if we just the child gear goes into play.
It's an interesting, I think when we're startled, and I think I talked about this in the last article, and I'm not sure if we talked about it on the air, but, when we're startled in our brain, we go to fight, flight, or stay the same. And I think when we're really tired and when we're really hungry, we go to fight initially, so that it's not what I want. And so we come across as cranky or angry or demanding or unattractive, difficult for sure. And I guess as a traveler, you have to anticipate. I mean, I never, of course, I traveled with my husband for the most part out of the country, but also in the country, and he always had a backpack with apples and granola bars and raisins, and I mean, it didn't matter where we were going or what we were doing. There was just always a little something to nibble on if you felt hungry. So I think maybe that should be in the article too. Go back and rewrite
well, it's about knowing your needs and knowing who you are, and understanding where your crabby points are. I tell you, I almost feel like we all have a crabby point. You know, we talk about in arguments, you know how to push my buttons. Well, you're letting me. You know what I mean? So people have buttons, and it's important to know our own buttons.
The crabby buttons.
So that we can, not push them. You know?
Well, I noticed, wait a minute, I had a thought. It seemed like when I was thinking about this, the buttons get pushed when it's unexpected. I mean, traveling, at least for me. When I thought I was going to be in one kind of a bed and breakfast and discovered that I had to carry my bicycle. You couldn't leave the bikes at the bottom of the, outdoors. We were traveling on bicycles around Great Britain, and we had to carry them up the stairs. And that just made me really angry. I was tired and I was hungry. And my reaction was, why don't you have a place to put bikes? We told you we were bringing bikes. I didn't say that, but I said it to my husband. I said, she should have known we were, And I think because I was startled, and it wasn't what I was expecting. And she should have done it my way.
Here we go. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's interesting because travel is going to be different for each person. I know what you mean about at the end of your rope, basically, because it's tiring. Travel is tiring. I remember
it's emotional.
Driving to a destination that was in the Gold Country, California Gold Country, and we'd driven all the way from almost the border of Mexico and Arizona, south of Tucson, from there all the way up there in one day. And we get into this charming, charming town, amazing historic inn, bed and breakfast inn that's haunted and has all the different stairs and everything. Well, we had to park way, like in South Africa we used to say, Durangon, like way down. And next thing you know, I mean, we're doing, we're not just carrying, luggage. We've got our computers because we're doing radio shows. We're doing all this stuff. Next thing you know, I'm like dragging things through a liquor store parking lot, down the street, up the sidewalk, up the stairs, and we get into the room they put us in, and it's tiny because it's historic. And there's no room, there's no desk for your computers, there's no room. Our butts are like pushing each other over into the bed, and you go in the bathroom, and this is charming and cool, but at this point, I'm like, dude, seriously, it's a chain toilet? Like, the old school things. Like, and I just was like, okay, you have to now switch gears and just laugh and get over it. It's difficult. Just take a deep breath, do whatever you need to do, but go into that inner place because you're actually crabby because of the intense drive you did all the way up here and traffic and et cetera. It's not the hotel's fault. This is an authentic experience. Now you're just crabby because of everything else. So do you think sometimes we drag things with us on the road? We bring our baggage.
Well, right. Well, but you were savvy enough to know that it was because you were so terribly tired. And I'll tell you, I had an experience similar to that when I was going to my, I guess it was my 50th college reunion or high school reunion in Massachusetts, and I had made a reservation for the quaint historic inn in town because my mother and I had stayed there, and I'd eaten there when I was a student and blah blah blah. And I got there, and it was at the end of a very long day, and driving in Boston traffic was not much fun for me. And so by the time I got there, I was exhausted, and I have a right knee that doesn't love stairs. And I was going to be doing a lot of walking this week, and they put me up 2 flights of stairs. Plus, I was way at the back of the building. And I went up and looked at it, and I didn't even take my suitcase with me. And I came downstairs and I said, I can't stay in that room. It's just too far and too many stairs. And they said, well, we're sorry, that's all we've got. And I'd made my reservation relatively, early, and I was really prepared to lambaste them. But I thought, I don't really want to stay here anyway. So I asked them if there was a modern motel, and I called them and went and stayed there. And to me, that was the solution, rather than I felt not unappreciated, but I felt like they weren't looking for a solution for me. They were just giving me the fact that they didn't have anything else. And I thought, if you make your reservation a couple of months ahead of time, you ought to honor this person more than somebody who walked in the door this afternoon. But never mind, I just won't stay here. So I didn't. That was my solution.
That's the thing where tourism, this is a tourism thing,
it is, but sometimes when you're making a reservation,
hospitality,
you really have to make your needs known.
I hadn't given it any thought.
Yeah, no, we've learned.
It just didn't. Oh, I have now for sure. Yeah, but and that's one of the places I learned it. I said I need a motel that has the rooms on the same floor as the parking lot or whatever. And the new place had a swimming pool and a workout room and things that the cute little historic place did not have. So it worked out better for me. But I can remember standing there thinking, I want to yell at these people, but I don't think I will.
But you do get in that crabby mode, and I think that's where, and then you're now set up with a bunch of different things that you're not used to, but yet we travel to seek these
for
new
something
things.
different. Yeah,
yeah, that's the irony.
Go ahead.
I think that's the irony. That's where the story I put in the article about the people in Geneva, it just cracked me up. Now, we're talking 1987, maybe 88. So maybe consciousness about gay and lesbian and homosexuals, maybe that just wasn't even on the radar at that point. But we're standing there in the big lobby, whatever you call that, in the airport, and there are all these women going, where's the bathroom? I said, well, it's right over there. It's got a male and a female figure on the same door, and men and women were coming in and out the door, and they were freaked out. They said, we can't go in the same bathroom as a man. I said, well, maybe you can, but let's go see. Oh, well, we can't go over there. We can't go in there. So I went, and it was just so silly, I felt. Opened the door, and of course you open the door, and inside there was a door for the men and a door for the women, and I remember just being really surprised at how freaked out these other American travelers were, and I thought I must be more liberal or more open to differences or less tired than they, but it never occurred to me that they weren't going to let me go to the bathroom.
Or you just had to go to the bathroom a lot quicker than other people.
Yeah, and it's like and you go in the bathroom, and it's like this is for sitting and this is for standing, and that way it doesn't go with any gender at the end of the day.
You can actually just open the door like a couple inches and look without walking through,
and then make up your mind. Far. They didn't even get that far. They were standing back in a group and going, oh dear,
oh my God, that's funny.
I had that experience when wasn't bathrooms. This was in Mexico, and we used to live where we were, so we're very, very comfortable, familiar. And there's this store front, and it's it was in Punta Bandas. It's just south of Ensenada and Baja, and this grocery store, this tiny little grocery store. They opened up a little restaurant thing, but it's like fast food, but it's not fast food when they're making it, right? It's real food that's just been simmering, like the moles and all that. You're just like, wow. And they made chilaquiles like you would never. I mean, chilaquiles is one of the best food items ever. Everyone has to wake up with chilaquiles, and I'm like, it's really hard to find really good chilaquiles. And
You're making
it's like,
me hungry.
Tortillas, and then like you can have salsa verde or rojo, and it's like, oh my gosh. And then they put the eggs. This was the spot, and I could never find that experience again. And then you carry that memory forever. But I was so excited. They'd made a fresh batch, and they're like, here. And we're eating like on, just takeaway plates and everything. And there was this, group of younger guys, obviously hungover from partying and whatever. And they were like, no, we can't eat. Like they went and they bought soda and potato chips because they were too scared to eat the food because it was out of a grocery store, and there's like, three-legged dogs running around and stuff like that. But there was like, an ocean right there. There was flowers and really cool people. They were the sweetest family, and but they were so scared to eat. I'm like, are you kidding me? You're missing out on the best meal ever.
And they asked, and we said, no, it's fine. We've eaten there before, and they still wouldn't.
And the Commodore, our friend, he's all like, I live here. He's known for that. But it was like, why would you go to another country and only eat packaged goods? And eventually.
Well, it's really interesting because after we'd been in Great Britain for like 2.5 weeks, when we were coming to the end of our time, and we were in London and trying to see as much as we could, I was tired and hungry, of course, by lunchtime, and everything we went to see was being repaired, so they all had scaffoldings. Anyway, it was still fun, but I saw a McDonald's. I said, can we get a McDonald's for lunch? I mean, we never go to McDonald's in the States, but I just thought, it will taste like a hamburger. It'll taste like home. And so we did, and of course it didn't taste like home at all.
No.
The meat was different. The fries were different. Everything was different. And I just laughed at myself, and I was embarrassed because that's what I wanted to eat instead of. But we'd been eating in pubs and doing a lot of local food, so I wasn't a complete ugly American, but I thought it sort of served me right to think that just because it has the same logo, it's going to taste the same, and I learned from that that it won't always taste the same.
That's exactly it. I think we get into that zone where. So how can we? Is it you were talking about flight, freeze, or fight, right? Those three things, and
fight,
those reactions that we get. Yeah, those the 3 F words.
Right.
So that's something to think of when, we get into a situation and we start to get, it's the same thing as you're going down a road and, there's construction, and now you have a detour, and then you don't know where you are, and it's like 2 a.m. suddenly, you get freaked out. I've been there, done that, and suddenly you're going over a really big bridge, and you don't want to do the bridge.
Am I in the same
Let's not talk about bridges.
No, I know. We won't go there.
We've had bridge stories before.
I know. We've talked about bridges, and it's just, there's those things, and there's those overpasses that are bridges, and no. But you do this, but you go through these series of emotions. So even when you're in a different country and you can't maybe understand each other, language-wise, if you slow down and change your attitude and have humor with it and try. Everybody loves to see, someone that's visiting their country try to change, and not try to change, but try to learn their language, try to, understand them. And even if you don't get it right, everyone's going to laugh and have a good time. And it eases the tension it breaks those barriers. It really does. People understand some basic things. You can tell a joke without telling a joke, But how do we get to that level of changing? Yeah.
My experience was. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
How do we get to that point of how we switch our mind to not be so reactionary? Because I think that there's a panic. Yeah.
I think we have to practice and certainly anticipate. So here's the thing: make sure you get enough rest. So if you have to go sit down somewhere in the sun and take a nap, do that. Or take a nap when you're on the train or something. So that's one thing. Make sure you have enough food, and then anticipate that it will be different than what you're expecting. And that takes practice. I mean, I think that we have to. The idea of looking at something and laughing at it instead of growling at it, that's got to become a habit. That's got. My younger sister's pretty good at doing that. She will laugh before she does other things, and I've always admired that about her. But you have to anticipate that it will be different. That and I was thinking
and
about
that's why you're going.
traveling.
Yeah.
I beg your pardon?
I said, and that's why we're going, because we want different.
Well, because we want to see different. We want to see something, but we don't really like. I talked to my husband before we were married. He was just back from Vietnam, and I said, I've always wanted to go to China. I'd studied a lot about China. My master's seminar paper was written on China. He said, he'd only known me a couple of months, but he said, you won't like the smell. you won't like it in China. And I'm sure he's right. If I went there, I think the smells would be different. And my smells trigger things for me. So when we were in New Orleans and the wind was blowing a certain way, there was the smell of the hops, for making beer was coming across, and it made me nauseated. And so we turned and walked the other way, rather than just force me to be nauseated. I didn't know that was going to, the wind could have been blowing a different way. It just happened to be blowing that way that day.
It's like the sewers of Vegas.
Yes.
Las Vegas has that.
In the summer, no matter where you are, there's no turning.
Yeah, that's what the the little Venetian canals that they talk about. Let me just say.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Never mind. I've never been to Vegas. That's probably why.
They need to clean it up. They really do.
But go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking in Paris when we were there, the bathrooms, of course they call them WCs in Europe, and they some of them were not as attractive as what we're used to in this country, but I had been given a lot of information about that from my parents. They just said, don't expect the bathrooms, to be really tidy. Take cleanser with you, so to speak, and don't take your own toilet paper, basically.
Yes, because you'll pay for it, sheet by sheet.
I had to pay
square by square,
like 5 cents
a
square. And I was like, there's this lady standing at the bathroom door. You go in and she puts her hand out. I'm like, what? What? And she's like, no, and then you look and there's no toilet paper, and she's like smiling and she has the paper, and you have to pay for it. And it was such a shock. I was like, what?
How do you like take inventory? Okay, well, how do you know? Just how much you're going to be.
Well, that's why I say I think you have to practice. You have to expect, okay, we heard someone on the radio talking about paying for toilet paper. So what do you think will be different in this? You could do this. What will be different when we go to? Oh, I want to say I was told that it was pronounced Newfoundland.
It's Newfoundland.
Well, Newfoundland is what I've always called it, but my sister is a Canadian citizen now, and she's been there a number of times, and I thought she said it's Newfoundland, but anyway, it doesn't matter. But say you go there, and then everything's frozen there. I don't know, or you go to Iceland or somewhere.
You have to kiss a fish in a bar and then drink a shot of rum. You kiss the cod on the lip. Yeah, and then you take a shot of rum. Yeah, they do that there. One of our travel writer, Debbie Stone, she's been there, and I know we're going to have Nancy Mueller on later on the show here. But that's the thing, and they are like adamant about how you say Newfoundland. Anyway, I'm never going to get it right until I get there. I know that you learn when you're there, and they teach you, and then maybe you have to kiss the fish, but you are going to experience these different things, and so what I'm interested in this in your article, you talk about start making changes to your routine at home and start practicing, and I think that is really cool, and it's a cool way to actually live, not necessarily just do it for travel. I think this is like a really good skill for life.
I think so. I think try, if you put your shoes and socks on every morning, you do your left foot first and then the right foot second. Do it right foot first, and if you put your socks on and then your shoes, put your sock and shoe on one foot and then the sock and shoe on the other foot. Go to work a different way, drive a different way, or walk a different way, or if you always have eggs. I'm sorry. Yeah, shoes and then your socks. Right. What was I going to say?
You're driving to work a different way and getting lost.
Oh,
sure.
I like
that. And then I kind of like getting lost. When I first moved to Cincinnati, I lived in the eastern suburb. In those days, it was not really a suburb. It was kind of like out in Appalachia. And I would come into town for various doctor's appointments and things, and I had no idea where I was going, but I could sense where the Ohio River was. And if I could get myself back to the Ohio River, I could find the road that went home because it went along the river. And people would say, well, how do you – one of my friends who'd lived in the community all her life, she said, how did you find your way around downtown? I said, I just aimed for the river. She said, well, how did you know where it was? And I don't know. I just did. So I saw a sense of geography for that. And what does that have to do with what we're talking about? Oh, finding your way, letting yourself get lost. Be okay with getting lost. I think one of the things I suggest in the article is to make a list of all the differences that you see every day.
Yeah, I like that. And I like this because I think it's almost like you go in your travel journal and you flip the negative, the negative switch and say, okay, I know that it's going to be, Nancy, if she ever writes her memoir, which I'm waiting for, and a lot of people are, she's always said she was going to call it What Could Go Wrong, because that's it in travel.
Yes.
Like, what could go wrong?
Yeah, it's just about everything.
And that's the thing. Like, I always feel like to flip it and write a travel journal. People do their Facebook posts and Instagram. Just create your own hashtag, like, what could go wrong, or waiting for something different. Like, anticipate it so strongly that it becomes the joy. And that changes your mindset over where you're actively practicing it on the road and you're making it the thing that you're doing,
Well, and I love it. I think that's brilliant. I suggest that you spend some time looking at what's different just in your day-to-day life. What's different today? What was different today? Make a list of those things. On the trip, you can, I say, make it a game, and how many differences can we find today? And then take pictures of your favorites and which one did you like the best, that kind of thing. But being someone who expects it, you can call it going wrong, but expect it to be different than what you want. So you show up.
Exactly.
In Europe, of course, if you show up at the train station, the trains pretty much do run on time. That's one of the nice things. But in our country, I mean, the AAA does its best, but you might bump into a traffic jam that you sit there for an hour on the highway, or it's raining so hard that you can't see to go up and around and over this mountain in the hills of Kentucky.
That's the newest thing happening. I mean, I've done so many. Every time we cross Texas, I get stuck in a flood. And you can't see.
Really?
You don't want to drive off the side of the road because you'll get into a swamp with some gators, man. I know that from living in Florida. You're going in, and once you go in, glug glug, and out come the gators. But everywhere has a different thing. In Africa, I mean, I think one of the best things ever was we had a flat tire, and it was we were out. Was it in Nairobi Park? Was it what park was it in? It was
Nairobi.
Nairobi Park, and you're out in the middle of the boonies, and it's like, okay, well, let's, change a flat tire. And the thing is, it's known as, if you don't get a flat tire, this is like, we have a van, we call them combis there, like a van. And so you're with your friends, you're all out, hey, flat tire. If you do not get a flat tire on your safari, you did not take a good safari. That's the thing. That's the local thing. So anyway, flat tire happens. We're walking around doing things, carrying on we go not even around the bend once it's fixed, and there's an entire pride of lions just sitting there.
They're watching.
They were watching us all fix the tire. Like,
Oh my
God.
God.
So that's kind of where the what could go wrong. Like there's some of those weird things that happen in life, and at the same time, those experiences turn out to be your best travel memories. How you handled it, even if you completely lost your temper. I mean, I've seen someone take their golf clubs and beat the crud out of a tree. I've seen people lose it. And that's funny to me when they do. I'm sorry, and then if you laugh, that's not funny to them. But it's funny. And later,
if you're in another country, it's not funny when Americans do that. We really have to be careful. I know.
They do.
I think there should be something to drink when you get on an intercontinental airplane that says Americans don't own the world. We don't always do it the right way. We just do it our way. I mean, there should be the 10 Commandments for traveling in another country.
Oh, I like that.
Well,
I know.
How about Americans realize that we are the newbies?
Yeah, we're the new potatoes.
We're the babies.
Okay, last note on this. I love the 10 Commandments for travel.
Yeah,
we need to work on that. Let's work on that.
Well, that was for intercontinental travel, but yeah, we will play with that.
I wanted
to
tell
you,
lot.
Can I tell you my story like your lions?
Yes.
I have one like
Go
that.
Ahead.
We've been married a couple of years, and we were in the Everglades for spring vacation, and we had taken our canoe, and we were camping, and we went around. It was in spring vacation, so at that time of year, the Everglades, the land part gets bigger and the water gets less.
Mm-hmm.
So the alligators are more.
You can see them.
There's more of them in one bunch. You don't just see one, or we were canoeing at some point, and I said, I'm just terribly hot. I've got to get in the water because I love being in the water. And so people we were with, they helped, and I jumped in the water and I swam around, climbed back in the canoe, and we literally went around this island. Mm-hmm. And there was whatever it is, a pride of alligators, whatever it is, a family, a large group of them. And my husband,
a reptile gathering,
a flock
of gators. Yeah,
my husband was like, "Oh my God, you don't get in the water in the Everglades."
That is so funny. Hello. That is so funny because like Debbie Stone, we were talking about her, the travel writer. She just came back from Chobe National Park, and there's in Everglades has crocodiles and gators, which is so cool.
Yes.
But she was like, I'm used to the gator thing, and they can really be massive. But she was like, stick your finger in the water by the crocodile. Heck no. She was like, no. She went and grabbed a hat out of the water. Her hat fell in the water when she was on a boat.
Oh, my God.
And she went and grabbed it, and then as she put it back in, and she was like, what did I just do? Like I could lose my hand. Crocodiles are crazy.
They're
but
bad.
This is so cool. I'm glad you did it. We're going to run. I've got a song for you, Sarah. We love to play music for you.
Yeah,
but before we go, I do have this one question. So when we talk about the attitude adjustment change and knowing that you're going to do this change and get to know a new routine and anticipate change and difference and experiencing these new cool things, when it's a family traveling together or even a couple, don't you think it's kind of like everyone has to have that new language and that everyone should be on board, even if it's just one person that's having that issue?
I guess so. I mean, I assume that they would talk about it. My husband had traveled much more than I had. So when we got to the airport for our charter flight and we were told we had a 4-hour delay, I kind of went, oh, my God. He said, that's okay. I got supper here in my backpack. Because he had traveled. So I had to learn the language. Is that what you mean? Or that
just everyone should be on board. Yeah, everyone should know. It's like, hey, we're going to, to laugh at
I think
and not
especially
be,
adults. But with kids, you have to expect them to burn out sooner, and have in our case it was always making sure there was art supplies around, so that when our son got tired he could paint a picture or draw something, and that was soothing for him.
Something
and
to
card
do.
games. We played a lot of card games. I remember we played Uno from Philadelphia to Boston on the train once when our airplane got grounded for fog. So
well, games help everything. Keeps everyone's minds active instead of freaking out. I love that. You talk about that in your article, too. Again, everyone, Sarah's article is up on nationalparktraveling.com. Just type in Sarah. You'll find her. She's got some other articles there on travel planning tips. She's also, how does a family come together to create your vacation and plan it together. And she also has a great article on nationalparktraveling.com on volunteering, what makes a good volunteer. So I didn't realize we've been putting you on that other side so much.
Oh,
we're going to have to do, yeah, which is so great. And also, if you go to blendradioandtv.com, you'll see Sarah in our expert department. You'll see her articles and interviews covering everything from not gossiping at work and why you shouldn't, and to how to handle a difficult colleague and a difficult boss. She's got all kinds of great things on there. So check that out at blendradioandtv.com. But, of course, the thing to do is go get her book. It's called Lessons from a Difficult Person, How to Deal with People Like Us. It's on Amazon, and you can also go to her website, Sarah-Elliston.com. And, Sarah, so your song today, as you always talk about conversations and, that kind of thing, having two people come together and have that communication and that dialogue, especially when you travel. So your song today is called Conversation. It's a title track from the first EP by E.G. Vines, and this guy is talented as heck, man, and he's got a whole new album coming out real soon. I saw that on Instagram today.
Cool.
Very excited about it. Based up in Nashville area. So you can go to his website, egvines.com. We also interviewed him on Big Blend Radio. You'll see that on blendradioandtv.com. But here it is, Conversation. Thanks so much for joining us, Sarah. Always good.
Oh, you're welcome. Take care. Have a great trip.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we'll talk to you soon. Yeah, next time we talk to you, we'll be in another place.
Yeah.
I know. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Please, brother, turn the channel. I can't take another bomb, another place. And what are they fighting for? All these things that time has never changed. I hope we peel our pride away, 'cause there's no conversation, all this separation that we're passing along. There's no conversation, all this separation that we're passing along, and we pass it along. I see my lover crying, but I just turn my head and stand a million miles away. I'm not sure just what I'm after, but I don't think I'll find it if I stay. Another oath of love we break, 'cause there's no conversation, all this separation that we're passing along. There's no conversation, all this separation that we're passing along. Sit right here beside me. I wanna hear about your hopes and feel your pain. How can we break this cycle? All the years and years we've lived this way. I think we found the starting place. It's only conversation into